Today on the newscast, Israel's Mossad did something unbelievable against Iran. Get all the stunning details next. Hey folks, I'm here. Welcome to the newscast. We've got some breaking news for you today that involves Israel's Mossad. Now, this is not breaking news in the sense that this operation by the Mossad happened back in June, but it was kept under wraps until just yesterday when Israel finally decided to reveal what they did. And this is a very big deal. The Israeli Defense Ministry released footage from June 26th in which the elite force of Israel's Mossad, which is known as kidon, that is the Hebrew word for sharp and pointed. It's a very appropriate name for this unit, carried out a daring daylight operation in the Iranian capital Tehran. Now, I mentioned this was in June, so why are we talking about this now? Well, up until yesterday, June 28th, the Iranian regime said nothing about this operation. They only confirmed it after Israel released the footage and said, yes, indeed, this took place, but we thwarted it. The Iranian regime saying the same thing today. But folks, actions speak louder than words. Israel released the footage, showing that this operation, in their view, was a success. The Iranian regime has not released any footage to refute it. Now, what happened exactly? Well, the Iranian regime says to members of this Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps motorcycle unit, that's what they are called, were killed during this operation. The Israeli Defense Ministry says to members of that motorcycle unit were eliminated. That's the word they use, eliminated. They also say that one member of the Mossad unit was injured during this operation. Again, according to Israel, this operation was a resounding success. Before we get into all the details, I just want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you get alerts every time a new video is posted. Hey, we're coming to you every day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes on the weekend, depending on the news cycle. And as you can see, there's no shortage of important stories happening in the world's most volatile and chaotic region, the Middle East. We would love to have you join us here every day as watchmen and women on the wall for such a time as this. So again, this happened back on June 26th. It was revealed yesterday. You can see here these images were released by the Israeli Defense Ministry. A massive explosion rocked downtown Tehran on June 26th. You see a plume of smoke rising above downtown Tehran. There were conflicting reports at the time as to what caused that explosion. Some Iranian media outlets reported that it was a gas cylinder that exploded, but then other Iranian officials saying no, this was caused by a magnetic bomb attached to a vehicle. Guess what? They were right. According to Israel, a Mossad unit carried out this operation. Now, we're not quite sure exactly where in downtown Tehran this took place. Some reports say near a subway station, others saying near a university, but we're not quite sure where it was specifically. What we do know is that the target of this operation was a gathering of Islamic Revolutionary Guards, Corps personnel involved in planning attacks against Israelis and Jews around the world. Number 2, this motorcycle unit that was carrying out attacks, carrying out assassinations, carrying out acts of terror against Israeli and Jewish targets. They were storing weapons and explosives downtown Tehran in a safe house. Israel knew about it, and that's why the Mossad carried out this major operation. Now, how they carried it out, it's pretty fascinating, folks. Again, this is Israel's elite unit, kidon, carrying out an op in broad daylight in the heart of Tehran, not on the outskirts, not in some remote area of the city, but downtown. Now, a few things about this. Number 1, the fact that it was broad daylight shows how brazen Israel is becoming in its operations against the Iranian regime. Remember, Israel has carried out several assassinations of Iranian scientists involved in their nuclear weapons program over the past decade plus. They've also carried out, dozens of attacks against Iranian weapons shipments across Syria over the past few years. So Israel is growing bolder and bolder because they know time is of the essence. They know they must act preemptively against this Iranian regime that clearly will not abandon its nuclear weapons program. Secondly, the location, the fact that it was in downtown Tehran. Remember, Tehran is one of the most heavily guarded cities in the world. If you've ever visited Tehran, as I have, it's a city saturated with cameras, literally everywhere you go. And also security forces. Basiji militias and regular Iranian Revolutionary Guards Corps and police forces are everywhere in the city. So to carry out an operation like this in the heart of the city is extremely rare. And you really haven't seen anything like this since January 2020 when the al-Baghdadi and all of ISIS in Syria and Iraq were eliminated. That was a daring operation by the Mossad in Iraq. But this one tops it, in my view, because of the level of security in Tehran, which is off the charts. So to pull off an operation like this, the daring that it took is unbelievable. It speaks to the training, preparation, and skill set of this elite Mossad unit. Now, here's the larger picture, folks. Israel is striking Iran and Iranian assets all across the region. Last week we reported here on the newscast that Israel reportedly struck a weapons shipment belonging to Iran's elite Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps in eastern Syria. Days before that, we had an Israeli airstrike against a weapons shipment traveling along the Damascus-Aleppo highway in Syria. In Iraq, Israel has carried out strikes against Iranian assets in recent weeks and months. And of course, you had that daring raid last month in northern Iraq, in which Israeli forces entered Iraqi territory, carried out an anti-terror raid, took out jihadists who were planning attacks against Israelis, and then left safely without any casualties. And now you have this daring operation by the Mossad in Tehran. This should send shockwaves throughout the Iranian regime and should serve as notice that this regime is living on borrowed time. As we've laid out for you many times here on the newscast, Israel has a plan in place known as Operation Black Arrow to take out Iran's nuclear facilities. If the Iranian regime continues down this path, which they are, we have laid out all the evidence for you here on the newscast that the Iranian regime is hell-bent on acquiring the bomb. They are not going to be deterred. They are not going to be stopped. They are pressing ahead, full steam ahead towards the bomb, so Israel knows they may have to act sooner rather than later to take out Iran's nuclear facilities. Folks, keep this all in prayer. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for the hand of God to be extended over the land of Israel, as it says in Psalm 123. Pray for wisdom for the leaders of Israel as they make these fateful decisions about how to deal with Iran's nuclear threat. Pray also for the people of Iran. Look, this operation was targeted. It wasn't targeting average Iranian citizens, but it does show you the kind of danger that they live under every day, the atmosphere of fear and terror that they live under. Not only because of the brutal crackdown by the regime on its own people, but because of these strikes that Israel is carrying out. And it just shows you once again how much the Iranian regime hates Israel and how the Iranian regime oppresses and exploits its own people. Stay tuned, folks. Keep all this in prayer. We'll continue to bring you updates here on the newscast. Thanks so much for joining us here today. Till tomorrow, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the newscast. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button. Click subscribe and tap the bell icon to turn on notifications for new episodes every weekday.